good. I'm getting so
That went
much
well.
better.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I. It seems to be a good day so far.
it does so far. We had a thumbnail
Yeah.
issue though. That was the problem this week.
What's
Thumbnail's
that?
not the thumbnail not appearing on your search, but when I searched it, it was on there.
Well, yeah. Well, it's funny because today I looked and it was there.
That's really weird. I don't know why I did that, but that's a good
I
thing.
have no idea. So when I was uploading it to, or when I was sharing it out to my different platforms, it was coming up as Through the Lens. That's it. It
Yeah,
was
I
weird.
don't understand it.
So I don't know what's going on, but at least hopefully today's show, we're not going to have any issues. It doesn't seem to be. You seem to be very clear today, which is a good thing. Or it could be a bad thing depending on who's watching. So, but no, we have a great show today. We have Tanya from the Paranormas, and I'm looking forward to talking to her. And she is a fellow Canadian, which is even better. That I don't think we've had many Canadians on the show.
No, we've had a lot of Americans, and we've had one from the UK.
We had Dom.
We had Dom.
Dom. Yeah, Dom. He's Canadian. We had Zach.
Oh yeah, so that's free.
But he was an editor. He's not really a paranormal investigator. So
true.
But I think that's it. And if I'm forgetting somebody, I apologize. Like, I apologize. I really do apologize. But I think
what we can do is get people who are watching this to go back and watch every episode we've done, and let us know if we're wrong. But you have to watch every episode to find out.
Yeah, well, that's actually not a bad idea. I just figured out why I can hardly hear you. I just figured it out. There we go. Now I can hear you. That's awesome. That's great. So, how's your week been, Lex?
Well, it's actually been pretty good. I was allowed out of the house again. Some isolation period's over, so I'm back out.
Yeah.
But really, it's been working on the new podcast that I'm going to be doing, which will be fortnightly. Called it's Lex Paranormal's Mind of a Paranormalist. So I've got some good ideas and segments to do on that. It's going to be some stuff that I'll bring onto this show and talk to you about as well. Get you on the podcast as well to talk, because it's going to be a bit of a there's an episode that I'm writing where I'm definitely going to need you on it, because it's revealing all about certain people and how they do things. So we're going to talk about stuff like that. But I'm quite excited for it. I'm looking forward to doing this one, and I'll be talking. The first episode is actually the Randonautica episode that I'll be doing, and talking in length about why I'm doing this poll. At the end of all these interviews, I'll be revealing what we've got so far in 18 episodes. So it's going to be a good show, and I'm looking forward to doing it. I never thought I would do it, but here we go. So that's what my week's been.
Yeah. Honestly, this week has not been very exciting for me. There is one thing that's going to be, I'm not going to tell, I can't tell you what it is, but I want people to keep their eyes and their ears open, because there's going to be something coming up onto Parapost that is going to be a game changer for us. And we are really excited about it. I'm not going to say what it is right now, but it is going to be awesome. And everybody can get involved. And it's just going to be an incredible thing. I attempted to do a investigation last night. It didn't work out for certain reasons, but I'm going out tonight to attempt again. And this place that we're going to is an abandoned building, and it's kind of got a sad history to it. The sad history is that there was a murder-suicide at this place.
Oh, wow.
And the guy set the building on fire. He was in it and died. But the real sad thing about all of it is there was a little child that lived in the apartment also. He gave the notes, the suicide notes, to the child, and the child went outside when the fire started. So, so somebody let the dogs in, please. and somebody let the dogs in it over there. But yeah, so I guess when the cops arrived, they found this little boy, or actually a neighbor found the little boy, and the cops obviously took the little child away, but the child had a suicide note. So I don't know what kind of moron. I'm sorry, obviously you're going through a lot, but to put a child into that position is
Yeah.
unbelievable. So we're going to try to hit this place again tonight. So we will be doing a live on TikTok, and hopefully it works out tonight. We'll see. But
Well, I
other
look
than
forward to
that,
seeing that.
yeah, so not a lot, but what I'm excited about is Parapost and what's going to be coming out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to keep quiet about that. And when it does come out, I think people are going to be surprised. So, and might even make a little bit of money.
Oh, wow.
I will say that much.
Hmm.
So, other than that, I guess we should get going and get started on the show. And this person I've known for a little while. I think we've known each other a little while over Instagram. That's how we met. And I asked her to come on the show, and she was happy to do it. She is a fellow Canadian, which is obviously great.
I'm outnumbered.
Because she's a Canadian. Well, today, yes.
Yeah.
But her name is Tanya. She's from the Paranormas. And I watched a lot. I've been watching a lot of her videos over the last few days. Not only does she do a little bit of paranormal, but she also has done a few videos on Bigfoot, which I thought was really, really interesting because obviously I'm a fan of Bigfoot. So let's bring her up. And this is Tanya.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Tanya. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. So you live I know you live in Canada. You live in Calgary, right? Is it Calgary?
This is Calgary, but depends on what locations I'm going to. We go through the prairies and western coast.
Cool. So you've been doing investigations for quite a while now because you have videos going all the way back from 4 years. Now, was there a time where you took a little bit of a break? Because I noticed a little bit of a gap. Yeah. So again, thank you for coming on the show today. We're really happy to have you and excited to find out a lot more about you. Obviously, we get to watch your videos, but you don't really learn a lot about it. We learn about an investigator's style and what they do, but not necessarily the investigators themselves. So I think this is hopefully we're providing a good platform so people can learn more about you, and hopefully they will go over to your channel and subscribe. And just to let everybody know that the link will be in the description. So if you want to go over and check out her videos, she's got a lot of videos up, which is great. And just subscribe and check out her videos. There's one particular video that I do want you to go look at, and I mentioned it in the green room. Day 3 at the cemetery, you will see that she captured a lot of EVPs in that particular video, which I thought was great because every time I go to a graveyard, it's like nothing. It's flat. I don't know why. It's flat for me. I think in the 4 graveyards that I've been to, I think I've captured one thing.
Wow.
And that's it. And I don't know, like my personal feelings on it is it's their last resting place. So why would they be there? Why wouldn't they? Because we're always told when somebody passes away, they come back to the place that they're familiar with. So why would they be in a graveyard? But that video, you captured quite a few EVPs, which I really thought was great. So that kind of leads me up to my first question. Why don't you tell us about your latest investigation, maybe something that's coming up that you're going to be putting up on YouTube, or you haven't been there yet, or tell us what's next.
Okay, so the latest investigation we went to was a small town cemetery.
Okay.
We were looking for pioneer family members of that area. We didn't find any, but we seem to have come across other people from that had started back then also. We came across some weird, strange energies that were hiding in the bush. And it was leading us to a home that was left abandoned that was across the highway from the cemetery. So what we did was we went there next. So that's what's coming up for us. It was a 3-part series, so we went to 3 locations that day. Usually what happens is we follow our intuition and or the spirits guide us to this location.
Okay. So do you have like, do you consider yourself a sensitive or an empath, or is it just feeling?
Yeah, no, I am an empathic medium. So a lot of times I hear the spirits and they guide me that way. I don't usually put that on camera because that's hard to portray and or for people to, they don't see that. They don't feel that themselves. So what we're trying to do is we connect with the spirit. It's all about connection. So if you can't connect with the spirit, sometimes they won't connect back with you. So I feel that's how we do get EVPs, because they know we're going to hear them. They know we're there and we're there to help them.
Yeah. So you do help them, because I know in one video you were talking a lot about how can we help you. So do you actually, because I didn't see in any of your videos that you were helping them. So do you generally do that when the video's done and then you help them?
Yeah. So we allow them to speak through the cameras, through our equipment. And then once we finish and the moment is past and it feels complete, we shut down and then we do the clearing. It's more powerful. You can't film a clearing. It just loses power that way. It's not.
Yeah. So what is, like, I know, like, I worked with a medium on one of my seasons, and she did a cleansing or she did a clearing, and she always said, well, I'm going to wait till the video's done. And I find that's generally with most mediums, that yes, you get your mediums that want to showcase their cleansing. But I think for me personally, and I'm not saying all of them, and I don't want people to get mad when I say this, but I find that real, how do I say this without sounding bad? I find that some mediums, like I said, some mediums want to showcase that, some don't. And I find the ones that don't are the ones that are real. This is going to sound bad either way, and I'm just going to say those are the ones to me that are serious about it, about seriously cleansing it. Like, is that wrong for me to say? Like, I don't want to sound like I'm being bad or anything like that, but I find there's a big difference between certain mediums and other mediums. So
there is. I feel like you're correct.
Yeah. So when you're doing, if we can just touch a little bit of what is it you do when you're doing a cleansing? Just, you don't have to tell us step by step. If you can just give us a brief outlook on what you do.
It usually depends on the location. Most times what happens is once we do the walk around, I figure out who's there, if they're ready to move forward, if they're not, if they want help, if they do not. Then what we do is once the video is finished, we either do a prayer, we burn sage, it depends on, we can sometimes use crystals or salt, depending on what the situation is and what the spirit is like. Sometimes they just need light. Sometimes they need more. Okay,
cool. Well, that's good. I don't want you to take step by step, because I know sometimes that's more somebody's personal. That's personal to them and how they do it, and I just don't want to, you have to say everything, because I know that's something you do off camera. And I find that noble. I really do. And I think that's amazing. That's something I just learned about you today. So that's great. Awesome. Go ahead, Lex.
Well, I also wanted to touch on just what Brian was saying there as well. Like, there was no way you're going to get that sentence out without maybe upsetting somebody. But but we have learned a lot. Like, you and me, I think most of us, probably all three of us, know it, that no matter what type of field you're in regards to this kind of thing that we do, there are always going to be ones that are serious, and there's always ones that are manipulating situations to better themselves for other people for selfish reasons. So I can see why you'll be a bit hesitant to say it, but I do agree that the The off-camera thing, I like the fact that you don't showcase it. I think that, again, I agree with Brian. I think it showcases you more that you don't publicize it, because it is showing how professionally and caring you are towards who you're trying to help. So I wanted to say I agree with that.
You know what? And sorry for cutting you off, Lex. The reason I say that, because the medium that I worked with, Patty, for my second season, we were at a home doing an investigation, and these people just basically wanted this stuff out, but they wanted to help it. They didn't want to say get out and don't ever come back. They didn't want to be mean about it. So what Patty did was, we had a dinner, and we were giving the spirits food. And during this particular session that she was doing, we weren't allowed to talk. And then we had a dessert, and we shared we shared the dessert amongst everyone, and especially the spirits. And that's what she did. And I thought that was absolutely incredible. But the first thing she said to me is, we are not allowed to film it. So, and I respected that. I really respected that. And I thought it was fascinating that I'd never actually seen it like that being done. You know what I mean? I'd never ever seen it like that before, which I thought was really cool. But that just brings to my point, everybody's a little bit different on how they do a cleanse. And I find yours and hers and everybody that does it really, really interesting. So I just wanted to say that.
Most locations are different. So it sounds like she was sharing a meal with a spirit. So possibly that was symbolic for them, and that meant something to them, and they could only move on if they had that fellowship and that family with them, that feeling.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because she said the exact same thing, and which I think is really, really interesting. Sorry, Lex, for cutting you off there. I just wanted to put that out there before I forgot.
I didn't know that, and that's actually a really poetically beautiful way of dealing with that situation. I feel like just imagining how that would work, and that being done, just silent dinner for that. I think that's a really beautiful way to try and help something move on. I actually really like that. I didn't know that. So
it's a native Indian thing.
Yeah,
because she's part Native Indian.
Yeah.
So that was a native. I never heard of that before, but it was really, really cool. So anyways.
And then, so talking about everyone having different preferences on that kind of thing, it's a beautiful segue into the next question of, if what's your favorite piece of equipment to use while you're out doing this kind of stuff? What's the one thing you're definitely going to pull out of your bag and use?
For the most part, it was the K2 meter and the spirit box I just recently purchased has come through with some interesting words on it that I find pretty accurate in the last couple of videos, the newest of the set that I've done, and so I would think those two rank pretty highly on my list of.
Yeah. So for people that haven't watched your videos, you got to tell them what you do in some earlier videos with the K2 when you go to these thrift stores.
So
now I'm going to say, sorry for cutting off. I am going to say one of your videos had almost 10,000 views in you doing this.
Yeah. We had gone to 4 thrift stores that day.
Oh, really? Wow.
One doll that lit up the K2 meter.
Yeah. So basically what she does is she goes into these thrift stores, takes her K2 meter and puts them against all these dolls. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was so cool. I'd never ever seen anything like that before. And I thought that was really interesting. But it's different, it's different. And the funny thing is you caught something on one particular doll and it was lighting up like no tomorrow. Now, do you think it was the doll was lighting up, or do you think maybe it was something electrical in the area? Because I know you rose your K2 to the light. So I see I've watched your videos. I watched your videos. So do you think it was something more electrical? Do you actually think it was the doll?
It depends. Sometimes it feels like it's electrical, especially if more than one doll is full tilt on the K2 meter. Then I'm like, it might be just the area. But if it's only like one doll, it lights up 1 or 2 little lights, and the next doll doesn't, then I try to test it around the shelf unit. I look for for electrical wiring, any of those sorts of things. If none of that is valid, then it must be the doll.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's excellent. So this leads up to this question. What has been your favorite place to investigate and why?
My favorite has always been the Queen Mary. We've gone there 3 or 4 times, and it's in Long Beach. It's one of those haunted places in all of North America. It's beautiful. It's like it calls to me, and it's probably the scariest place too.
So when you go into that place, do you see something right away, or do you feel something right away, or is it something speaking to you right away? What is the first thing that happens when you walk in there?
You feel it first, and then you have to get a little accustomed to it. There are tens of thousands of spirits on the ship. So once you get on certain levels, they start following you around. Every time you've been there, one of us in the group has seen something or someone that was not in the room. And or the actual rooms themselves, when you stay in them overnight, we've had things happen. Water turn on, closet doors open, close. Someone even had a person standing over top of their bed in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's really interesting. You said about the water turning on. There's a YouTuber group that I watched a while ago when they did the Queen Mary, and they were given permission to stay in. I think it's B34, the room they've taken the number off, if I believe. And the one thing that happens in the video is the faucets turn on, and all 4 of them are in this one room, and that was so it's actually quite cool that you've said that, because it validates the other video a little bit for me. But I've always wanted to go to that ship. It's incredibly beautiful to look at. But I would have you been able to stay in that room yet, or
not in B32 34, but we've stayed on the A deck in rooms there, and they're all haunted too. Not to the extent of that one, but they all are. That's where usually our experiences have happened.
Would you do that room?
Sorry?
Would you do that room?
Would you do that room?
Yeah, I probably would.
I'm getting the impression she has no fear whatsoever, which is great. Now, I just recently heard a story, or I read it somewhere within the last week or so. They are having problems with Queen Mary. I heard something about it sinking.
No, that's horrible. That's sad.
Yeah, I just heard that. I think it was about a week and a half ago I heard that, and I think they're going to have to close it down and do something to prevent that from happening. I could be completely off base here, but I'm positive I've read something within the last week and a half. But so that's really, really cool. So you say, so when you walk in, you feel it, you get that feeling, and then do you start seeing stuff, or do they start coming to you and talking to you? What are they exactly doing when it comes to you?
For me, usually what happens, you come in, you get the hair rising all in the back of your neck. You're like, okay, I'm within spirit people. Sometimes I can just tell them, like, I have boundaries I've made, so they're not allowed to come to me until I'm open for it. Okay. So, you have to check in, you have to get to your room, that sort of thing. So when I'm in rest, sometimes I can connect with some of them, like John from Door 13, or there were a few others that had come to me. There was a man that had got burnt that had come to me. I've also seen a man when we walked about 2 a.m. One time we walked along the sun deck, and all of a sudden there was a gentleman that walked right towards me. And I thought, oh, just one of the workers. He was dressed in uniform, mustache, curl in his hair. Kind of looked like from the 40s, I would say. But I thought, oh, wow, is he ever dressed up for the time, in costume? And I'm like, okay. And then he walked right at me, and I stepped aside, and I just kind of unconsciously just let him pass. And I'm like, oh, late for someone to walk around. And then I looked over to my friend, who she accompanies in most of our investigations, but I turned to her and I'm like, did you see, where'd that man with the mustache go? And she just looks around. She's like, there's no people up here. It's 2 a.m. Everyone's in bed. I'm like, what? Oh, okay. and you see ghosts so many times that you're like, oh, I must have been just another ghost. Okay, that's cool. So then I remembered him. I tried to find his name on the list of people who had passed over, and there was a steward, night steward, that had passed. And interestingly enough, his last name matched with family names from my mother's side. So,
oh wow,
is he connected to me? Maybe.
That's cool.
That's very interesting.
Was that something you knew before going in, or was that
No.
something you just discovered?
It was something I discovered after.
Oh wow, that's incredible. That's great.
Yeah, my friend had also in the pool room had seen a man dressed in a dark suit with a long jacket, and she had assumed that it was one of the tour guides that were taking us through the area. We left and we asked the gentleman who kind of resembled him, but not quite, if he was in that room, and he's like, no, I wasn't there. So that freaked her out because that was one of the first times she saw us.
It sounds like you had some incredible experiences on the Queen Mary. That's definitely on my bucket list, but I definitely have places that are above that before the Queen Mary, but it's definitely something I would consider really doing. And I know Lex is interested in doing that. And I wasn't far off from what I said earlier about the Queen Mary, because the Haunted Traveler did make a comment saying they are closing the Queen Mary for renovations and to keep it from sinking. So I wasn't far off from what I was saying. So anyways, go ahead, Lex.
Well, I'm sure they're going to fix it. But you said that this is, the Queen Mary is probably one of the scariest places too, which is great for this question, because it was going to ask you what's the scariest place. But I want to kind of build on that. What was the scariest moment you've ever had while dealing with the paranormal?
Scary moments.
I don't get scared. It's fine. Nothing's scary.
that they bother me, but you try not to show fear, because fear is what will feed them, especially the ones that like that sort of thing. So scariest moments in my life, maybe there was a time when I didn't understand and I didn't know how to control it. So I would wake up and there'd be someone standing in my room, or there'd be people standing wherever I was staying at the time, maybe at my sister's, and I would be, staying over in her living room, and there'd be 4 dead people, 4 ghosts standing in her living room when I would wake up. And I would close my eyes. I'm like, no, I'm going to look over to a different direction, and over there's going to be nobody standing over there. Close your eyes, open them again. Oh, there's another one over there. Okay, I'm just putting my breath in my head for the rest of the night. And, it takes a lot of time and effort and courage to stand up and say, you know what? I'm not going to live this way. I'm going to how to communicate with these people, because they need me.
Wow, that's great. And it's funny because of the fact that I've met several mediums, and they all kind of say the same thing. Yes, they talk to spirits. Some of them talk to spirits, or whether it's feelings or whether they see them or whatever. But I've spoken to a lot of mediums, and they all said the same thing. Yeah, they do it, but it doesn't mean they don't get scared.
Mm-hmm.
They get scared. Like every time I went on to an investigation with Patty, the first thing she wanted to say is, I want to get the fuck out of here. Like she doesn't want to stay. And you see it on the video because she says it all the time. She said, okay, I'm scared. Let's get the fuck out of here. And, it's true. Like, yeah, you guys can speak to spirits. Like I'm a sensitive myself. So I see them. Like, and how I see them is a lot different from what everybody else sees them, but I can't hear them. I can only see them. So, I see them, but it doesn't mean it doesn't scare the shit out of me, because it does. But you got to learn how to control those emotions when you're in the moment of seeing them, because if you don't, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, honestly, you just don't. They could do something or whatever. And I understand what you're saying, but again, like I've met with a lot of mediums, and they all say the same thing. They don't want to stay in the fucking room. If they see it, they see it. They're going to speak to it, but then they want to get out. Sorry for my language, by the way, but we're all adults here, so I think we're over that. But But no, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So, and I'm glad Lex asked you that question, because my question to you is now, if Lex or I were to give you a bag of money, and it was a crap load of money, and you got to choose, you could go anywhere you want in the world to investigate a place, where would that be? And why?
Of course, because that's where my family's
Sorry, you
from.
cut off. Sorry, you cut off there. What was it?
The UK, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go to the UK. So is there a particular place in the UK that you'd like to see?
I would like to start Ireland, Northern Ireland, where my great-grandparents came from, and then make my way through the rest. Stonehenge would be interesting to feel the energy there. Scotland.
Lex, have you ever been to Stonehenge?
Yeah, a very long time ago. Yeah, but it's annoying now because you can't get too close to it anymore because they've put a barrier up. So yeah, you're actually stood quite a way away from it when you get there. Still good enough that you can see it, but in terms of, because I was thinking of going down there one day, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to do from the distance they have to make you stand. It might be different for a medium or an empath, because they can feel things more, whereas I don't think I'm going to get anything on equipment if I go down there.
So how far you have to stay? How far are you standing from it now? Because when I went inside, you could get quite close to it.
Yeah, it's a lot further back now. I can't remember because I've not been for a little while. It's let's have a look.
Oh well, you don't need to look now. It's okay.
Oh, I can see it. I'm just seeing if I can get an average idea, but no, I don't know. I don't know.
So we've been hearing that a lot lately. People wanting to go to the UK because there is, and I agree, there's a lot in the UK, and they have a lot more history than any other place in the world. And UK, I know, has a lot going on there, especially within the castles, and the castles that are no longer, I don't want to say active, because then whatever, but they're no longer being lived in, I guess you can say. So, yeah. But no, that's cool. That's awesome. Go ahead, Lex.
Yeah, I really like that. If you do make it to the UK, let me know. I'll be a tour guide.
Yeah.
But so I think that is quite good. It's nice that we're not getting the same answer for that question anymore. The beginning of this show, when we started doing this, we got the same answer quite a lot. So it's quite nice to get a bit of variety in it this time around. We're getting quite a few different ones now. It's good. This leads me on to my second favorite question, and this is like I'm really into, and I don't know why. I like the origin story as to how everyone found their way into this, because I find every paranormal investigator, any medium, every single one's story is completely different to the next person. So in your own words, I'd like to hear your first ever experience with this kind of stuff and how it turned you into the person that wants to go and communicate and look for it.
My first experience was when I was about 3 or 4, and I was with my grandmother at my great aunt's house, and I went down the hall as a little kid, you have to use the washroom. So I went down the hallway and looked in there, and peeking in the window, which was probably about 12 feet off the ground, was the man with the mustache again. He looked different, of course, but and that scared me. Of course, a little kid, you're like, why is there somebody else in the bathroom, or the head of somebody else in the bathroom? So I called out to my grandma, there's a man in the bathroom, and she was confused, of course, and she came to check it out, and there's no man in here. And I'm like, there is a man in here, Grandma. She's like, well, I'll stand with you and help you. I said, okay, fine. So in the end, her and her sister, my great aunt, looked at each other knowingly, like, we have someone special here. So they kind of switched me from then on to that. They thought it was a ghost too, and I think they even know who it was, even though I now they've passed on. I don't know who it was, but I think
interesting. That's cool. So
my family have seen. So it does run in the family.
Okay. I was just about to ask that if it runs in the family. Yeah, that's cool. So I know because because of what I can do, my grandmother, her abilities were out of this world, and she could even, like I've told this story before, like she could even, like my mother's husband would say something, not very nice in a conversation, and she would say, you know what, your car's not going to start when you go home.
Mm-hmm.
He would go to his car and his car wouldn't start. He would come back and apologize to her, then his car would start. So that's how strong she was. Like her abilities were out of this world, and she would know right away everything about this person. If she saw a spirit walk into the room, she would know everything about that person. And which, she's passed on. She passed on several years ago, but that's where I get mine from her. Now I don't have everything that she had, but I do have some of the things. But that's interesting, and I always think, are you a believer in the fact that when somebody has the ability, that I've always been told it skips a generation? Do you believe in that?
I don't believe it does skip. Not necessarily. It might be dependent on people's experiences, whether they stay open or not, and that might be the factor in why it skips. But I know parents wise, one of mine, they've also seen spirits. So, and they are empathic. So in my experience, I don't feel like it does skip. And my sister can also do, she's maybe not trained in the same way I am, but it does definitely seem to go every generation in my family.
Oh, okay. Cool. Lex, your question.
So, this brings me to my final question. The best question, the one that decides if we think you're worth putting on air.
Well, she's already on air. It's just whether we replay it. That's
yeah. So obviously you have heard of or used or know of the Randonautica app. I'm assuming you know what it is.
Mm-hmm. I know what it is.
You know what it is. It's everywhere on YouTube at the moment, and it was when it came out. So, but I'm just trying. I was in yes or no. That's all you need to give me. Is do you believe that it is in any way, shape, or form linked to a paranormal experience?
I don't think it is. I feel like it's sort of like a geocaching type app where there are people connected to it that probably aren't in it for their best interests.
Interesting. That's an interesting answer.
First time we've had
an answer. Yeah, it was a great answer. The very first time we've had an answer like that. Some people are, and that's one thing I noticed. You don't have any Randonautica videos up, so I was assuming that you weren't really a believer. And I don't know. Do you know much history on the app at all?
History wise, no. I've watched a lot of videos where people use it, but that's about as far as it goes.
Yeah. The original reason why this app was brought out was they wanted people to get out of their homes and experience their community. And that's why this app was built or created, or however you want to say. Unfortunately, something happened. As we all know, anybody who knows about the Randonautica, that somebody was found in a piece of luggage on the beach, and that's where it exploded. But originally, like I said, the original reason why it was created was to get people basically off their asses into their community and find out what's going on. Yeah. So instead of the news or the TV telling you what's going on. So, but Lex has a little bit of information that you might be interested in. And we tell most guests that we ask this question too, and they don't know it. And it makes them think, well, maybe there's a lot of truth to that. So go ahead, Lex, tell her your piece of information. I know you get excited when you're going to say it.
Because it makes me sound smart. And I think I've said it, and I'm an idiot. But I think because I've said it so much now, I'm sure there are some return viewers in our chat room or in the replays who now say it at the same time as me because they've heard it so many times. But I
Well,
essentially, obviously, like if an app update,
he froze. You froze.
Yeah.
Could start again.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, so I'm going back. Okay, don't know what happened there. So I'm assuming you've got apps on your phone. You know how they work. When they update, they either automatically do it or you have to press update and it just does it for you. Yeah?
Yep.
That's what it's meant to do. So after, and I'm going to say probably in the Florida side of America, when certain people were using this app on every video and it got really popular, Randonautica did a weird thing with their app. They made you uninstall it because they were working on an update for it, which doesn't make sense. So, but when they did it, they then redid it, you re-download it, and it's exactly the same. But you do the same thing. But now, since the update, people are getting much better places to go. So I've done it before the update and I've done it after the update. Before the update, I got sent to a field around the corner from the house more than once. I was sent to just a main road. Whereas when I did it on the new version, it sent me to Windsor Castle, which is number 1 on my area's most haunted list. If you just Google it, says that. Then it sent me to a cathedral, which ironically is number 2 on the most haunted list if you Google it. So my theory is when they took it down, because they saw that no one was using it for what it was meant to be used for, and they saw that these big name YouTubers who can easily get them revenue to get this app working properly, I think they just plugged it in and they loaded it with top 10 most haunted lists in loads of regions, and it literally just sends you to those. And ever since they did that as soon as I found that out, that they had to make you re-download it, that's where I completely switched off from watching the videos and stuff like that anymore.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't even know how to comment on that.
You know what? At the end of the day, I really feel that there are tons and tons and tons of Randonautica videos on YouTube, and I've seen some. You guys have seen some. Lex has seen some, and people in the room have seen them, I'm sure, also. But they're entertaining, and I think that's what they should be classified as, entertaining. And that's it. And I think people need to start putting that in the description. It's not paranormal. It's not paranormal related. It's entertaining. If you come to watch an entertaining video, that's what you're going to be seeing. And let's be honest, most of the time, we don't see what's going on in the background. We don't see the cutting job. We don't see what they're doing. So how do I know as a person you haven't put that piece of paper behind that tree saying, don't come here? I don't know if I haven't seen some. I'm just giving an example. You know what I mean? So, or somebody buried something and it was a time capsule and it had all these little trinkets in it, and one of them happened to be haunted. Now, obviously, we don't see anything when it comes to the editing room. So I look, if I watch one, it's out of entertaining value, and that's it. And I really think people that are true paranormal investigators that have done real paranormal investigations and then turn around and do a Randonautica need to put that as a disclaimer, saying this is entertaining and it's only entertaining. And but now I know 2 people have come out with their own app now that it's along the same lines, and they want us to believe what they're seeing is true. And this is why, and let's be honest, Tanya and Lex, let's be honest, we're true paranormal investigators. We're trying to go out there and get real evidence. And you got these numbskulls, and I'm sorry if you people like them, but they're numbskulls that are making us look bad. And I'm sorry, I don't normally use the word numbskulls. Forgive my language. No, I'm just kidding. So, but they're making us look bad. We are going to get down. We are going to be talking about that in later shows, about these particular people that are doing it, because I think it's time. Now, obviously, we're not going to do it in a mean way, but people need to understand, or need to start realizing what's true and what's not true. and what these people are doing that have 300,000 users and their fans are dedicated because they think they're real paranormal investigators. Guess what, people? They're not. They're not at all. And but anyways, that's getting off topic. But you know what? I'm glad you said that. The video will go up now on replay. That's awesome, and I appreciate the honesty from you. But again, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I hope you had a good time. And was this your first time ever being interviewed, or because I know you mentioned to me you got some coming up too?
Yeah, we have a couple more in the summer, but no, yeah, this is the first time I've been interviewed.
Oh, so. Through the lens.
And how do you feel about it? It's not that bad, really. Yeah, it's not. We're actually nice guys. We're actually nice guys, but I want to really, really appreciate you doing this today, and it was a real joy getting to know you. I watched a lot of your videos over the last week. I think I've only got about 2 or 3 left, and because I think you got about 50, 51 videos, somewhere around there,
something like that. I've been trying to get out one a week if I can.
Yeah. So, and I'm a big fan of the Day 3 Cemetery. And what you guys really need to do, and anybody watching right now, and anybody watching the replays, you need to go over and subscribe to this girl's channel. She's obviously a fantastic person. We've had a great conversation today, and it was a joy meeting her. And I want to really appreciate you coming on the show today, and I'll let Lex say his goodbyes.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, definitely a huge thank you for coming on. I didn't get the pleasure of seeing your videos yet because I searched the name on YouTube and it didn't bring up anything for me. So that's why when we're done on here, can you just send me all your links in the email for anything you want in this video, and then I get to watch the videos afterwards, because I'm actually really interested to see the stuff that Brian and you guys were talking about early on. So I'm sorry that I haven't personally watched them yet, but I will after tonight. And I would like to enjoy them for myself. But it has been a pleasure. And I just want to say, you seem like a really nice person as well. You got really good attitude, and personality wise, you come across really nice as well, which is a good thing, I think.
That's a Canadian thing. It's a Canadian thing.
Yeah. Hush.
Hey, listen, we have sarcasm, but we're really nice people.
Yeah. My people just conquer different countries for a few years.
That's great.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing where you go from here in the future.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
Take care.
Well, there you go, guys. Tanya from the Paranormals. I really hope you go over and check out her videos. And again, I'm going to say, check out Day 3 of the cemetery. She captured a lot of EVPs, and it was really good. It was a great video, and it was funny. And one of the EVPs she captured, it said Showtime, and we spoke about this in the green room. It said Showtime, and I was thinking maybe it said Showtime because they were going to present themselves. So that's what I was waiting for. But the EVP was great. And again, just go over and check out her channel, subscribe if you can, share out her videos if you can. It's just not about going over and watching them. It's about liking them and sharing them too if you can. So this girl needs to, let's get her up to 300. She's at, I think, 274 right now. Let's get her up to 300. Let's get her to 300 subs. She's been doing it a while. She's obviously a great person. So I guess that's about it. I guess until next week, we will see you guys. I will say this for my final words. Don't let yesterday use up today.
And I will say, preparation can only take you so far. After that, you must take a few leaps of faith. We've been Brian and Lex, and we'll see you next week on Through the Lens. Good night.